Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss on the topic era of one-party dominance. This is one of the most important topics in Indian politics covered by your syllabus, and it is important for both the higher secondary as well as HS as well as undergraduate classes. Era of one-party dominance. Um, Now, what is meant by one-party dominance, or what uh, what does it mean? The period from 1947, the 15th August of 1947 to 1967, the 2 decades period, the period of 2 decades, when the Congress Party, the Indian National Congress, was ruling uh, the country, India. This entire period is known as the era of one-party dominance. So the era of 2 decades is known as the era of one-party dominance. It was on 15th August 1947 that the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, had taken oath to form the government. But this government was not a government coming out of a general election. The first general elections were held from 1951 to 1952, from October 1951 to February 1952. So it had taken around 4 years from the time of independence to 1951. It was a period of 4 years. It had taken a period of 4 years for the Indian government to hold the first general elections to the Indian Lok Sabha. And of course, the Indian National Congress was expected to win this election. It was the party which had inherited the Party of the National Movement. After the first general elections, expectedly, Jawaharlal Nehru became the Prime Minister of India, and thereafter he ruled up to 1964, and after his death we all know that Indira Gandhi came into power. Now let us look at the results of the first general elections. What were the results? The party won 364 of the 489 seats in the first Lok Sabha. The Communist Party of India, that came next in terms of seats, won only 16 seats. So in the first elections, we can see that the party won around 3/4 of the total seats of the Lok Sabha. 3/4. And the opposition could not win even 1/10 of the seats in the Lok Sabha. So it was a resounding victory for the Indian National Congress, and it was a sweeping victory. That were held in election that was held in 1957, and in the third general election that was held in 1962. In both of these elections, held in 1957 and 1962 respectively, the Congress maintained the same position in the Lok Sabha by winning 3/4 of the seats. So in 3 general elections starting from 1951 to 1962, in 3 general elections, Congress maintained the same position in the Lok Sabha by winning 3/4 of the seats. So Indian National Congress was a party which took over the reins of the government from the British, and thereafter, for another 2 decades, they continued to rule over the country. And Their wins at general elections were sweeping, and their rule in Indian politics was sweeping. It was overwhelming. They had a profound influence on the nation-making process of India after independence. And that is why the period from 1947 to 1967, this 2 decades period, is known as the era of one party dominance. Era of one party dominance, therefore, is nothing but the era of Congress party dominance, the era of the dominance of Indian National Congress. So when we look at the elections, we can find one exception here. The exception is that as early as in 1957, in the assembly elections of Kerala, Congress party had suffered a defeat. Here, the Communist Party won the largest number of seats in the Kerala elections. The Communist Party of India won 60 of the total 126 seats. EMS Namboodiripad, he was the leader of the Communist Legislature Party. He formed a government in Kerala. So the Kerala state government was a Communist Party government, and EMS Namboodiripad was its leader. And you should, and it is worthwhile to mention that this government was the first Communist Party government in the world. For the first time in the world, a Communist Party government had come to power, and the leader was EMS Namboodiripad. Now we can have a look at the map. Era of one party dominance, era of Congress dominance, 1952 to 1967. The era actually starts at 1947 itself. Now look at the yellow colored portions. You'll find 16 states or provinces. In the 16 states, Congress retained power for the entire 20 years period. Congress retained power. Congress was not in power in only 2 states, Jammu Kashmir and Kerala. Jammu Kashmir was ruled by National Conference and Kerala was ruled by Communist Party of India. Elections were not held here in Northeastern Frontier Agency, Northeast Frontier Agency, now known as Arunachal Pradesh, and Naga Hills area, now known as Nagaland. And you can see for yourself, during the entire period, Congress retained its dominance in Indian politics. So what were the causes of success of the Congress party in Lok Sabha general elections? Why it was so that the Congress party ruled over the country for entirely 2 decades without stiff opposition from other parties. India was a multi-party democracy right from the beginning, but it was only Congress party which managed to rule over the country for entire 2 decades. That too without any stiff opposition from any other party. So what were the causes of success of the Congress party? The roots of the success of Congress party actually lie in the legacy of the freedom struggle. As you know, the Indian National Congress was the inheritor of the national movement. The National Congress or the Congress party took the leading role it undertook the leading role in the freedom struggle of India. Therefore, it was already a very well organized party, and by the time the other parties could even think of such a strategy, the Congress had already started its campaign for the elections. The contesting Congress candidates were none other than the leaders of the freedom struggle. And these leaders were very well recognized. They were very well respected by the communities. They were the most recognized faces in Indian politics. So the party already had spread across the length and breadth of the country. They had strong organizational network down to the local level. So Congress party took active part in the freedom struggle, and the Congress party continued to take active part even after independence in terms of nation making, in terms of nation building, in terms of community building, in terms of building the economy of the country. So these were the factors that contributed to the dominance of the Congress party. Secondly, the Congress party was dominated by English speaking people. It was they were mainly upper caste, upper middle class people, and they belonged to the upper elite section of the society. They gained foothold in the society because of the civil disobedience movement, and their social base widened. And these people were very educated, and they could communicate with both the British as well as the local population, local people, the native, the indigenous people. They were able to bring together many groups whose interests were often contradictory in nature. So they were successful in bringing together uh, different classes or sections of the society. They brought together the peasants, they brought together the industrialists, urban dwellers, villagers, workers, middle class people, upper class people, lower class people, all classes of people under one umbrella. So the Congress party was rainbow. It was a rainbow-like social coalition. And when we look at Congress party, we can see the diversity in terms of class and castes. The members of the Congress party were none other than the people of India itself. So ultimately we find that the major cause of success of the Congress party was that it had a strong legacy of the freedom struggle, and it was not a movement, it was not a party, it was not a mere political party, it was a movement, it was a national movement, and they had taken active role both in the pre-independence as well as post-independence era, and these were the causes of the success of the Congress party in general elections. On 25th November 1949, B.R. Ambedkar had given a speech in the Constituent Assembly of independent India, and the crux of the statement was like this: in India, hero worship plays a part in its politics, unequaled in magnitude by the part it plays in the politics of any other country. But in politics, hero worship is a sure road to degradation and eventual dictatorship. So here he wants to say that in Indian politics, hero worship plays a very big part. but it also leads to a road to degradation and dictatorship. This statement ultimately came true in regard of the era of one party dominance. uh, we could see, Indians could see and visualize various periods of uh, dictatorship in the entire 2 decades. So this chapter comes to an end. If you have got any doubt, then you can always put a comment beneath the video, and I'll be more than happy to answer your queries. Thank you.